All right, so I didn't give you guys my thoughts on Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. I personally unofficially picked Amanda Serrano to win the fight. Um, I want to talk to you guys about that a little bit while I make a little something to eat, and it's gonna be good. So I had Katie Taylor take the first two rounds. Um, the first round, Katie Taylor definitely took it. She boxed and moved, right, and made Serrano kind of fall short with her shots. The second round, Serrano started coming on, was landing a couple body shots, but Katie Taylor again catching her with right hands. You know, not heavy hits or heavy shots, but she was getting her a little bit as it was good. So I gave the second round to Katie Taylor. Now the third round was where Serrano started closing the distance. She started slipping shots and landing body shots. Katie was trying to respond, also counter what Serrano was doing. That was it was mixed. That round was mixed. It was like a swing round because both fighters were doing what they wanted to do. Where it really started to pick up was in the fourth round. Serrano was landing some nice body shots and some straight lefts and knocking Katie Taylor back. Katie Taylor was still doing what she was doing. She was still boxing, moving around, but Serrano was getting in the corners, boxing her into corners, and starting to land body shots. So I thought round four went to Serrano. Okay, that was the first definitive Serrano round for me. So we kind of have a question mark on round three, right? And then Serrano picked it up. And round five, I mean, she beat the living crap out of Katie Taylor in round six. Okay? Then Katie Taylor came back in round seven. She got beat up, though. Serrano kind of let her foot off the gas in round seven. And Katie Taylor was able to do some things. Now, round seven was really, it depends on what you think it was. Because Katie Taylor landed one or two good shots, was mostly clinching and walking Serrano to the ropes, trying to lock her up so she don't land a lot of body shots. She was still winded, but she was doing enough. You could give her round seven. And then round eight, she definitely took that. Round nine, she definitely took that. And Serrano got back a win because Serrano was getting tired. You can see she's slowing down because she expended so much energy in the fourth, fifth, and sixth. So she's kind of getting back a win. So it looked like she let Katie Taylor off the hook, but really, she was tired, all right? Round 10, which was the final round of the fight, and these are 2-minute rounds, round 10, Serrano came on strong. Katie Taylor had to clinch and walk her to the ropes to try and stop her, but Serrano beat the shit out of Katie Taylor. They banged heads, and Serrano got cut, but Serrano was a smaller fighter in there, but she had the harder punch. She had more power. Ultimately, in the end, I thought the fight was a draw or a split decision towards Amanda Serrano. That's how I had it scored. I thought that Serrano, throughout the course of the fight, was the aggressor, and I thought she was the effective aggressor. I also thought that Katie Taylor was doing some unnecessary movement in the fight, trying to go in and out, jumpy. And I think Serrano was able to slip her shots, get to the inside, and land some really nasty hooks to the body. Straight lefts to the body, and she would hook up on top. She started kind of repeating herself and throwing the same types of combinations. So she would come with a 1, 2, 3, right? She mix up the two. So sometimes she'd come with off the jab. She'd come off the jab like this, and then throw, say, a left to the body, and then she would come with a right hook up top, or she would come with a jab to the body, and then she may come with a straight left up top and a hook up top. I wish she had mixed it up a little bit more, and she would have come with body work. She should have just gone to the body, and then when Katie at least expected she come with a hook up top, because Katie was ready to go in round 5 and 6. She was ready to go. She was done. All right, but she survived. She survived through that. And in round 7, she kind of got a second win, and she was fighting. Now, she was the bigger fighter. She was a physically bigger fighter. That's how she was able to walk Serrano to the ropes, push her back, walk her to the ropes, which was very smart. but Serrano was the heavier puncher. She was the more accurate puncher, in my opinion. She was cleaner. She was more efficient. She cut off the ring really well. So if you were to look at a fight, in my opinion, the fight went to Serrano. But you can't call it a robbery. A lot of people saying Serrano was robbed. She wasn't robbed. Katie Taylor showed the heart of a champion. You know, grabbed a ball, grabbed herself, got herself back together, and was able to box Serrano and pull back 3 rounds. So in my opinion, the fight was a draw. But if you got to give it to somebody, and who finished strong in that fight was Amanda Serrano. Serrano is a physically smaller person, which is why she couldn't bully Katie Taylor on the inside, but she really landed some nasty body shots on the inside all the time, all night long. That's why Katie Taylor was so tired and sapped, and Amanda Serrano is the one that finished strong. So if anybody was supposed to win that fight, in my opinion, would have been Amanda Serrano. They gave the split decision to Katie Taylor. I get it. She's the younger, more promising fighter. She was the undisputed fighter. You know, it was Eddie Hearn Promotions. You know, and to be honest, it was a close fight. So it depends on how the judges were looking at it. I thought the one who did the more damage was was Amanda Serrano, and it showed on Katie Taylor's face. It showed at the end of the rounds how Katie Taylor was just out there. She was dazed after round 5 and 6. She was just dazed, you know. But she had a harder champion, man. You can't take none away from Katie Taylor. I thought Katie Taylor might win the fight based on her boxing skills and based on the fact that she's the younger of the two. She's the new generation of fighter. Amanda Serrano is the generation before. So all of these things I was thinking about, you know, and hearing promotions, I'm not mad at it. She earned her stripes. She would have learned a lot by facing Amanda Serrano. They will have a rematch, I believe, in September. Katie will try and improve on what happened. So Katie Taylor's had some close fights. She's had with Delphine Persoon. I thought Delphine Persoon also beat her. I thought Amanda Serrano beat her, but not by a tremendous amount because Serrano got tired as she was coming down the stretch. But I do believe that Serrano finished the fight strong. I think that it's not that she let Katie Taylor off the hook in round 7 because she really had the fight in hand. And she probably could have stopped Katie Taylor. But I think that Serrano, the one thing I want to tell, if Amanda ever gets this video, is you was doing all the right things, but you was doing some things a little too repetitively. What I mean by that is, when you threw that left to the body, right, and you came over the top with the right hook, maybe you should have just set it up body, you know, right, body. And then, like Canelo, like all those great body punchers, you keep on getting her, so she's flinching, and she will dip on this side, and when she dips, as she flinches for the body shot, swing it up top. Yeah! Short, nice short, slide in, whack, right? And catch it with that. Or flip to the side and land a body shot and then come over the top. And that would have put her down. And it had to be short and chopping. And she got the power to do it, and she would have dropped her. And that would have been it. She would have won the fight off of that. She might not have stopped her, but she would have dropped her. And that was all she needed. She needed a 10-8 round, and that would have separated her from Katie Taylor. So if they do have the rematch, Amanda Serrano to win this fight, you got to think like Juan Manuel Marquez versus Manny Pacquiao, because this is the kind of fight that we're talking about. To get a decision, you got to take it in your hands. You're going to knock her out. But don't go looking for the knockout. Do what you do. Your style, Katie Taylor's going to have to try and do something to deal with that style. Because I don't think her style, Katie Taylor's style, I don't think can overcome that style that Amanda Serrano has. Because she's got good head movement. She bobbles and weaves really nice. She slips those punches really nice and gets to the inside. Katie Taylor can't stop that. What Katie Taylor could do, for Katie Taylor's end, is what she's doing very, very well, which is clinching and using her size on Amanda Serrano to wear her down and to try and tire her out that way. Because Amanda Serrano is an older fighter from an older generation, so that's what the younger fighter need to do. Don't try to throw too many combinations, Katie Taylor. Try to pick her off. So your pivot work, your footwork is important, but you do some unnecessary footwork. Like you do all of this shit. Don't do that. You got to become economic. Look at Amanda Serrano. She's very economical with her footwork, and Katie Taylor need to have economical footwork. It's pivot work. You got to learn how to just pivot. Pivot. All right. You got to learn how to slip and slide. Not all this shit. Not all this herky jerky shit. That burns too much energy. You slip. You slide. You slip. You slide. And it's the same action to roll in, roll out. Roll in, roll out. Slip and slide. Okay? That's what boxing's all about. So the herky jerky shit and all this shuffling with the feet and all that shit is not necessary. It burns too much energy. And the other thing with Katie Taylor, I would say to her, is composure. You got composure, but you burning too much energy. You come in the corner huffing and puffing. Look at Amanda Serrano. Learn something from the older fighter. Compose. She comes in the corner. She ain't breathing hard. Composure. All right, some Caleb Plant didn't have against Canelo, but Bivol has it. All right. So these are little tips that I hope Katie Taylor takes from Amanda Serrano's fight. How composed Amanda Serrano is. How selective she is at picking her shots. Katie, you know, combination of punchers tend to be people who want excitement. They want a crowd to excite them and all this shit. You gotta stay composed. Now, you gotta be composed, but you gotta be sharp. A relaxed person is faster and quicker than somebody who's not relaxed and they tense up. And so you gotta be composed. You gotta pick your shots. She's not as accurate. Katie Taylor's not as accurate as Amanda Serrano. Amanda Serrano is economical with her shots, and she really lands her shots. She really places her shots very, very well. And like I said before, she reminds me of Hector Camacho, but she got a heavier punch. She really could punch. She's a puncher. She's a boxer puncher. So not much more Amanda Serrano need to do because she's a veteran of the sport. She know boxing very well. I just think that she should have set up Katie Taylor for that. She would have put her down. She would have put her down for sure. She would have put her down. She would have had Katie Taylor in all kinds of problems. And when Katie Taylor comes in to clinch you, when she comes in for the clinch, remember to break a clinch, simple. Amanda, simple. Yo, dip and expand and roll out. And you got the guy. You got the guy right here, right? You dip and roll out. Roll out. You got to roll. Because the roll gets your opponent off of you, right? And you expand the arms out for a second. It's kind of like if you're doing a cross-arm defense. You expand the arms out as you're dipping. They can't clinch because it slips out from under them. And you get a roll out to the side here, land your left, and that's it. Boom. So if she comes leaning in on you, especially when they're coming head first, leaning in because they're trying to clinch in, that uppercut's right there waiting for you. You slip to the side here, throw it up here, boom, left hook, or right hook in this case, night night. So that's just a little something to Amanda. If you need to stop Katie Taylor, because I know you got it. I know she was you about that away from stopping her. But the reason you couldn't stop her was because she was too repetitive. Her muscle memory, she got used to, you're gonna shoot to the body, and then you're gonna come up top, right? And you gotta mix it up. You can't just. And I saw you mixing it up. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying at that point in time, you was just doing the same combination over and over, trying to stop her. And I knew you was going for the stoppage. I knew you was trying to stop her. So if the situation presents itself again where you have her in trouble like that, and she's tough, you gotta be a little innovative. You gotta catch her with something she's not anticipating, she didn't see, and that's how you're gonna put her down. Right? That's the trick. Of course, easier said than done. But Amanda Serrano, hell of a fighter, man. This woman fights at bantamweight and super bantamweight. You know, she fights at all kinds of weight classes. This woman could do it all. She reminds me of Hector Camacho, like I said before, but she could punch. You know, Camacho had bad hands. She don't have bad hands. And she could punch. And she's not as stylish as Hector Camacho, but she is a southpaw. And I love my southpaws. I'm a southpaw myself. So I love my southpaws. You know, I'm gonna be biased towards the southpaw. So she's a hell of a southpaw. You know, and kudos to Amanda Serrano. Congratulations to Katie Taylor on pulling off the win. That's going to be a tremendous amount of experience she just got there. And this is the way you got to go through. You got to go through the storms, Katie, to become the very best. And I believe that experience that you got is going to just take your game to the next level. Amanda's just giving you a gift. And maybe in your rematch with Amanda, you'll be able to weather that storm better. Because, of course, when a veteran, you know, you just got some veteran experience. You can't pay for that. That's like Mike McCallum versus James Toney. That was veteran experience, and you can't pay for that. All right? Amanda just imparted a gift to you. So in the rematch, you should be much better than you were before. More composed, more picking your shots, not so jumpy and jittery and moving around the ring, burning energy like that. You should at least be more composed so we can get a better fight from you versus Amanda, and you should be able to outbox her. You should be able to pick those shots and to make those precise movements that are necessary. Because one of the things Katie wasn't doing, that Shakur was doing, was, and you got the superior, reach, height, weight, and reflexes, right? So if Amanda's coming to you this way, you're supposed to respect distance by you going back. If she takes 2 steps forward, you take 2 steps back. She's cutting off the ring and she's coming here, she's going to square up. And all you got to do, it's real simple. If she's coming in this way, check her and pivot out. It's just a pivot. That's why I never understood with these guys. It's a pivot. It's just a pivot. It's just a pivot. That's why I talk about pivot work so much. You don't have to, if she's coming in this way, you don't have to dance away like this. You don't have to do all of this and all of this. You don't have to do all of that. It's just a turn. And she's past you. Okay? So, I mean, that's why you have to know pivot work. That's what boxing's all about. That's why it's called a square circle. It's all about pivot work. Right? I did martial arts. I did in-close fighting. So, Aikido, I forget what it's called, Shiro. And one of the things in it is, if a guy's coming head on at me with a knife or something, I'm just going to control him right here. I'll send him on his way. Because even if he's swinging the knife this way, I just do this or I do like this. And he's gone. He's over there. Okay? It's pivot work. It's not a whole set of movement. Right? You look at Amanda Serrano. She's cutting off the ring. She's cutting off you. She's not doing a whole set of movements. It's precise footwork. Alright? Precise footwork. Okay, I'm here, but my body's really here, right? But I'm here. And I'm walking your ass down. Yeah. Alright? Alright? And it's pivot work. So if I decide I want to go over here, I just do like this. And I could even shuffle it like that. And I cut the angle beautifully. You understand what I'm saying? So if you boxing is angles, man. And if you don't understand that, you'll always burn excessive. Muhammad Ali used to burn too much energy. He used to do too much shit that was unnecessary. You don't have to do that. Bouncing is important if you want to get your rhythm going. So you bounce up and down for that. That's all. Okay? Or you get hurt or something and you want to just catch yourself, so you shake yourself. You bounce. But really and truly in boxing, the king is the pivot. You hear Floyd Mayweather say, get on your pivot. That's Errol Spence is king of the pivot. Errol can pivot all kinds of ways. Plus he can change levels. I tell you, 2 things in boxing that are your friends. Get low, squat, do squats. It's your feet that's most important, and your hands. Everything, your power, everything comes from your feet. Squats and footwork. And footwork is not all of this bouncing shit and going all over the fucking ring. Okay? Footwork is about turning or pivots. You can turn, you can bring a pivot this way, backwards, or you can go forwards with a pivot. Okay? Or you can just turn on the dime with a pivot. You know all the pivots, right? It's very important to have that and understand what a pivot is and when you use certain pivots. That's it. And distance control. You want to be able to control how far away you are from your opponent or how close you are to your opponent. You know why some of these boxers out there, they say, I don't study nobody. I just do what I do. Because when you perfect and you do the right things, you always will have a remedy for the other person. Matt Serrano has good defense, by the way. So, I mean, I was delighted to see this fight, but I thought, me personally, again, maybe it's a bias or something, I don't know. But I told you round by round how I scored my rounds, okay? And I thought that Amanda either got the decision, but barely, or that it was a draw. That's how I had it. Now, it's easy to say that Katie Taylor, you could see Katie Taylor getting the decision as well, because, like I said, round 3 was a round in which you could either give it to Amanda or Katie Taylor, right? So, you know, Just K, what's up, man? Just K came into the building. Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez, that was a masterclass in boxing. But I thought Shakur could have knocked out Oscar Valdez. And again, it was just, you know, he took his foot off the gas a little bit. Just K. But he could have knocked out Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez was ready to go in rounds 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All those rounds he was ready to go. He was trying to be live. His power had kind of dissipated. He didn't have the strength that he used to have. You know what I'm saying? Serrano left her jab home, bro. Nah, not at all. Not at all. Serrano was jabbing coming in. In fact, her combination was either a jab to the body, all right, a left up top, which knocked Katie Taylor's head back, or she would jab up top, go left to the body, and a right hook to the head. That was her bread and butter. And she would slip the shot. She would slip as she's coming in. You know, so I don't know what you're talking about, bro. That's all I'm saying. I didn't see that. I saw her using her jab. Of course, she was also using the lead left quite a lot. She would also blind Katie Taylor with the jab up top. So she would blind her here and come to the left to the body. Kind of like what Shakur was doing to Oscar Valdez. But Shakur jabs a whole lot more. Okay, Shakur uses the jab quite a lot. Whereas Amanda, she will lead with the left hand. She will lead with right hooks to the body. So she's a little bit more, I would say, more advanced fighter. Because to just kind of explain this to you guys, you can lead with the lead hand several different ways. I'm a southpaw, so I'm breaking it down to you. So as a southpaw versus orthodox, my deadly weapon, and Amanda Serrano was circling clockwise. She was circling with her power hand closer to Katie Taylor. So she was inching in like this, and she's throwing the lead hand here, right? Not the lead hand, the power hand. But just to sort of help you guys understand, a southpaw, my lead hand is closer to her lead hand, and my lead hand is closer to her body than she would be closer to Katie Taylor's body. So you would see her, when Katie Taylor throw a jab, you see Amanda Serrano hook over the jab, or she would hook under the jab, right? So when Katie Taylor come with, say, for example, in the orthodox stance, Katie Taylor's here, and she's throwing her jab here, right? She's throwing her jab here, right? Oh, she's circling this way. That's right. She's circling this way, throwing her jab. She don't bring. You know why Katie Taylor keep on getting tagged? She don't bring her hands all the way back. She do the same mistake And that's something, Katie, you need to work on putting your hands back. Um, she don't bring her hands all the way back like my boy Corey Spinks. Corey Spinks was guilty of that too. Corey wouldn't bring his hands all the way back, you know, and Corey's a southpaw. Now, what I liked about these fights was both fights, Oscar Valdez versus Shakur Stevenson and Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, we were dealing with a southpaw versus an orthodox fighters. I don't know if you guys noticed that over the weekend. Of course, we also had the 168-pound undisputed fight was going on. It was a unification for undisputed, and Franchise Cruz, she is now 168-pound undisputed champion. Shout out to Franchise Cruz on success of that. Just K says, I get that, but the 6th round though, oh man, shit, she beat her ass up, didn't she? She could have stopped her though. She could have stopped her. Like I said before, she could have stopped her. I agree how Pursoon was killing Taylor. Yeah. Pursoon also was a bad. But she was more unorthodox. She would lead with anything. Like Pursoon would lead with her right hand and come in, or she would lead with her left. You know, and she'd come in on the body, and she was bigger too. You know. But Katie, man, Katie got a heart of a champion. Katie got a heart of a champion, and you know, I want to explain some of the people, right, a little bit more. And shout out to Just K in the building. Basically, sometimes people say, "Oh, this fighter not using their jab," because they're successful at leading with another hand, leading with another punch, right? If let's say I'm a southpaw, right? Let's say my left hand's working for me, right? I'm landing the left hand whenever I want to land my left hand, right? Why would I screw that up by trying to throw a jab? For what? What's the point? I'm landing my right hook. I'm landing my lead left, right? Remember, southpaw orthodox. The most effective punch of a southpaw to orthodox, for example, is the power hand, right? Because that you got a better angle with the power hand than if you were to throw your jab. Your jab just kind of knock the guy's head back a little bit. You can kind of get pieces of spleen here because it's kind of side on here. See, because your butt basically side on. So you want to get the meat of the person. You really use the power hand, the backhand. But you angle your body. You see, if you notice, Amanda Serrano, she squared up a bit. And you got to square up again to land the power hand so you can get the power hand, the shoulder, and the power hand closer to the other opponent. All right? So it's all of that you kind of square up a little bit because the angle's a little bit different. Because your opponent's not directly in front of you. They're kind of side on this way. So when you square up a bit, you give them a target. But if you stay at a certain particular distance away, you can slip them and then throw your power hand, you know. But I really appreciated what I saw, man. Boxing is such a beautiful sport. Shout out to Katie Taylor. Congratulations to her. Shout out to Amanda Serrano on getting that paycheck and also having a close fight. I thought Amanda Serrano just nicked it. But it is boxing, and this is what boxing is. So I mean, I don't think Amanda's a sore loser. I love that she, women's boxing just went through the roof. But I just hope that they can give us 3 rounders instead of 2, so that the rounds don't go by so fast. But such high quality boxing by Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. Shout out to both of them. Amanda was more polished than Katie Taylor, more refined, but that's expected. She's the veteran. She's got a lot of experience in boxing. Finally, Amanda Serrano getting the praise that she deserves. I thought she won the fight, like I said before, but just barely. I think age and just the fact that she expended so much energy, she could have got Katie Taylor out of there. But, it is what it is. I don't think she could have got her out of there, but she would have knocked her ass down. I think so. So, I hope you guys have a good one. I'm what you need. I'm going to catch you guys later. Peace.